So recently, there has been a lot of people talking about this M4 skin, the M4A1-S Fade, if it's overpriced, if it's underpriced, if we're at a level you should be buying it at. And today, I want to talk about that and just all the collections as a whole, if they're finally oversold and you could feel comfortable buying them for the long term, because the numbers tell us a lot. This video is sponsored by Skins Monkey. If you've been looking to trade out your old boring skins for new ones, Skins Monkey is the place. By clicking the link in the description, you'll get a 35% deposit bonus when depositing with cash and crypto, and up to a free $5 bonus on your first trade. So be sure to click that link. Skins Monkey also has the freebies tab where they run 24/7 giveaways that are completely free to join with crazy skins. And if you're looking to actually get your hands on some good skins, Skins Monkey is the quickest way to do it. So be sure to get that free $5 and 35% deposit bonus now, trading your CSGO skins with that link at the top of the description. So first off, I'm going to look over this thread by xmercy where he talks about a bunch of different things. I'm going to ignore most of the text, so I'm not going to read through all of that. But I am going to talk about a couple things relating to the supply. First off, he kept track of the supply and how it increased from Thursday through, I believe, Sunday. So for the M4 Fade, which is going to be the main skin we'll focus on this video, note this is the weekends, by the way. So these numbers are increasing a lot more than they would during the weekdays. But we're getting at least like 200 of these M4 Fades still coming into the game daily on a Thursday or on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So still, that's a lot of M4 Fades coming into the game. Now, let's look at the actual price chart of them on Buff, and I'll change this in a bit because Buff, they're technically overvalued on here, but they've pretty much been going down until really recently, until the 26th, where they came up in price a little bit, and you could be like, oh wow, $400, that's a good price. Well, if we go on CS Float, they are still a bit cheaper, of course. As Americans or Europeans or anybody not in China, we can't even use Buff. I just use it as a place to actually look at the prices, but right now they aren't really bouncing up in price at all. They're getting sold for $360. There's listings for $360. There's buy orders for $350. So there's not really any demand and any sign of them bouncing back in price yet. Now, the overall supply of these, it said it in the previous post as well, but the overall supply is just around 9,000 right now, or 8,900. But this is a really good basis just to show how many there are, and we can compare it to other skins as well. The M4 Hot Rod, 14,000 supply, $885. And the blue, you can list a couple others, but the Blue Phosphor, this is the main one I want to compare it to. 35,000 supply of the M4 Blue Phosphor, and the current price is $575. Now, this is really interesting because I think to some degree you could say that's a fair comparison. They're both super coveted skins. People like them. People use them as play skins, and you would think, wow, the M4 Fade is really underpriced. I mean, not even, or about half the price as a Blue Phosphor, and there's, not even a third of them. Here's why I want to talk about why that's not really a good comparison. If we look at the chart of the Blue Phosphor, and I'm using the Steam chart because I can't actually find a website that goes back as far as I needed to, before CS2 dropped, the Blue Phosphor was like $300, and it was just sitting at this range for a very long time. And I remember this because I own one, and I still own one today. And then CS2 dropped, and like everything else in the game, it absolutely blew up in price. It, on the Steam market at least, over doubled, almost tripled. It did triple at some points. We are not going to have something like that happen with the M4 Fade in my eyes. Unless maybe when it gets removed from the game, something like that could happen. I don't think it's going to double in price. I do think there is too much supply for it. But if there was one thing that would blow this thing up in price, it is it getting removed from the game and there being no other way to get it besides trade-ups, obviously. But assuming there's no souvenir collection released with it, and there won't be because it's called the Sport and Field collection. There's no map called Sport and Field that's going to be in the majors. So either way, there's not going to be souvenir versions of it. So whenever it gets removed, we can have that conversation. But as of now, is the $350 price range too cheap for it? And I would still say no, not necessarily. And even then, I wouldn't really say it's worth the risk at this current moment to buy one, in the sense that you're going to expect to make a bunch of money, because I don't think you're going to. There's still about 200 of these. We'll just say even 150 of these coming into supply a day, because we got to assume xmercy did it on the weekend, so those numbers are a little bit inflated, being around 200 to 250. So we'll just say 150 of these coming into supply every day. That is still a lot for a covert skin. And my main worry, as I've said in a bunch of videos, is we just have no clue when that's going to stop. Now, another thing everybody has been comparing this to is there's other cases in the game still with like the OG knives, for example, and let me show you guys what I mean. The OG knives are the knives that were first released in the game with the weapon case, and they got released in 11 cases total, including some of these newer cases that are only a few bucks to open. So a lot of people compare it to this because technically the OG knives are not like 100% limited. You can still technically get them, but there's not nearly as many coming into the game. And they have blown up in price, absolutely. This is a Karambit Blue Steel since, I don't want to say the beginning of CS2. After the CS2 hype died, this thing not doubled in price. It went up by like 300 bucks at least, which is crazy for an item that you can still unbox. But the key difference between stuff like that, and there's another reason why I don't like the comparison, is that the M4 Fade is still in game. A lot of them are going to be coming into supply, and I don't think right now the risk to reward is still worth it. I still think they could come down to about $300. And sure, all those OG knives are technically still in the game, still able to be unboxed, but they aren't in your face when you open the game, and there's not hundreds of them coming into supply every single day. So I think that's just a huge difference between the two. Now, at what level would you consider buying one of these? Well, I think you would have to compare it more to the unboxing ROI of these collections and kind of realize at which point people are going to stop buying more Armory passes or just not grinding out the game. So there's going to be way less supply of these coming in, and there's actually going to be some demand picking up, because that probably will happen eventually. I don't think these things are going to go absolutely sideways forever. But currently, right now, the unboxing ROI, despite it being a lot lower than it was a week ago, these were profitable to unbox these. You had like 130% ROI. All of them, or at least the 3 collections, are sitting at about 85, 88% or so. Now, that still is relatively not bad. If we look at a bunch of cases, cases are typically like 60%. For most cases, 50, 60%, Chroma case 54, Fracture case 54, Dreams and Nightmares case 43. It's pretty bad with cases. So you're still going to get a lot of people unboxing these collections with an 85% ROI. It's not that bad. So I still think as of now, the supply coming into the game is way more than the demand. But I do think at some point we're going to see these things go absolutely sideways for a very long time, probably, until they blow up when they get removed from the game. And as I've said a million times, we don't know when they're going to get removed from the game, which makes this very difficult. Now, the risk to reward level I would say to actually buy one of these things is somewhere around, like, if they somehow get down to like 200 to 250 bucks, then I would say I would personally consider buying one, because I mean, it's not like they're gonna really go down forever. They are still technically a covert skin. There is a lot of demand for them because they do actually look really good. And relatively compared to stuff like a Blue Phosphor and stuff like that, the supply is really not that insane. When they get removed from the game, we'll really start to see that. But at the current point, when we have hundreds of them coming into the game, and will continue coming into the game consistently, there's no reason to be in a rush to buy any of these things. Sure, I could say, oh, maybe 360 isn't a horrible level to buy at. Sure, they could very easily go up in price from this level. I'm not going to pretend like 360 or 300 or 250 is some imaginary level they can't get below. Either way is very possible. But the way we typically see bottoms in skins, in CSGO at least, is they go flat for a very long time. This is something I've covered for a super long time. Just a super flat trend until something sparks a massive push up in price, and then they'll usually maintain it. Another great example of this that I always use is the breakout case. So we're doing this live. I'm showing you guys this as I always do. They will always go sideways for a very long time. Something will happen. I don't even know what happened there that caused them to dip 20 cents, but then they'll run it up, go sideways for a long time, run it up, go sideways for a long time, run it up, go sideways for a long time, and run it up. That's always what happens with cases and skins and everything. You just need some event to run it up. Now, I would say for the M4 Fade, and this kind of correlates to the whole market here, we haven't seen everything really go sideways yet. Stuff is still kind of dropping in price, like the M4 Fade on CS Float here. This is not a chart that is sideways at all. It's still going down in price pretty consistently. And I don't think we're going to see a massive demand spike once again as long as these are in the game. So if we see them sit at $300 for like a 6-month span, then I'd say, sure, $300 seems to be a fair level to buy at, where you can expect to at very least not lose money. You might be holding on to the thing for a year until it gets removed from the game, and then you can make some money. But until that point, there's no reason to say to rush and buy these things. We still got to give this quite a bit of time to kind of see what level they're going to bottom out at. But I don't think they're going to blow up in price anytime soon, as long as they're in game and as long as there's this much supply coming in. And I think that's going to be for at least like half a year's time at least. So I'm in no rush. Of course, this whole concept goes with like charms and everything else as well. If you see something bottoming in price and not moving, this Deagle I would say stay away from at this point, to be completely honest, because there is over 200,000 of these in existence, which is insane for a quote limited edition item. It is very not limited. But for the charms, for example, I would say kind of follow the same concept. If you see them reach a bottom in price and just stay at that level for a bunch of months, then they're probably going to blow up eventually when they get removed from the game, but we don't know when that is. So as for now, wait for things to bottom out, then hold on to them. And if you're interested in buying stuff, don't be in a rush. Once again, just wait for stuff to bottom, and then you could start picking some stuff up. But as for now, that's my thoughts. Be sure to check out Skins Monkey. Get that free $5 bonus on your first trade. Link at the top of the description. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.